Gerai, tai šiandien mes turime šiokią tokią diskusiją su šiokiais tokiais dviem ponais, kurie garsino šiokį tokį indį nedidelį žaidimuką, kurį galbūt esate žaidę, kas nors ar girdėję apie jį. Ir pašnekėsime apie, kaip matome ant lentos parašyta, apie brolybę, apie išdavystę ir jau tada apie redemptioną. Tinka taip. Tai actually, I'd like to invite on stage the main two guests for today, I guess even. Roger Clark, better known as Arthur Morgan, and Rob Wiethoff, better known as John Marston. Gentlemen, please join me on stage. These are your microphones.
How y'all doing? Achoo. Thank you so much. Thank you, guys. We know, well, me and Rob are just so grateful to all of you. Lithuania has been amazing. We know that we just really appreciate you and we love you for your support. Outlaws for life.
Great crowd. I don't even know if you'd really need me here. You can just, go off from here, just not to go overtime, because these two gentlemen, I think, have an interview at 5. Will there be any questions after the discussion? I just want to preemptively know. Do you have any questions? We'll have at least one. Cool. I have a couple of questions ready here, and they're pretty extensive, gentlemen, so, you just talk your mind. This panel is all up to you. We have the topic of the discussion, which is Brotherhood, Betrayal, and Redemption in Red Dead Redemption 2. And I'll just start off with the first one. I've written them down. Again, they're pretty extensive, but, you can play off of them. So basically, Arthur and John start the story butting heads, yet grow into a genuine brotherhood by the end of the game, right? And how did you approach bringing that evolving bond to life through your performances? What was it like developing that chemistry over the years of working together?
Well, I was a huge Red Dead Redemption fan even before my audition for Arthur. I was a big John Marston fan, and I was blown away, to be honest. I thought it was an awesome game. And then when I found out that I was actually going to be working with Rob Wiethoff, it was very, very overwhelming, especially on the first day we were filming. I had him up on my shoulder. It was like, we didn't shoot the game chronologically for the most part, but the first scene that we did together is the first scene in the game when you're rescuing the wolves. What are you doing? Are you getting revenge for last time?
No.
Last time I was up here, I had a big screen up here because I had COVID, and he's getting his revenge because I was holding up signs as well. But
we're 3 minutes in and it's off the rails. Okay, continue.
I just was going to say that, I mean, Arthur trash talks John, and you have to get pretty far into the game before you start to understand why, because John has what Arthur lost, and you don't know this straight away, but Arthur had a son, he had a partner, and unfortunately those were ripped away from him and taken away. So when Arthur sees John not valuing what he has, I think he gets a little resentful. But yeah, there's definitely they're brothers without a doubt, and there might be some animosity from time to time, but at the end of the day, you can't deny the respect and love that they have for each other,
Why do you think Arthur gave what's the word I'm looking for? Probably like a cold shoulder to Marston at first? Why do you think that was the case?
Did your coffees come yet? Sorry. Thank you. All right. Yeah, ladies, give it up.
Brett Parker, ladies and gentlemen. John was better looking, that's the whole thing. I think that was the trouble that Arthur had with John.
Yeah. Even with the scar, right?
Oh, especially with the scars. That's sexy.
Oh, man. No, you know, I just want to add to what Roger said because it was incredible for me to come back to Rockstar Games. I saw so many familiar faces from working on Red Dead Redemption and then on Dead Nightmare. And then I saw a lot of new faces, a lot of new people at Rockstar, but then also there's this new playable character. And I thought, I really don't know what this looks like because the way they did Red Dead Redemption, if I was there, I was working. I was in every single scene, the way that they shot that. Because if you weren't seeing it through John's eyes, it just didn't exist, right? There was no other way, unless, of course, you saw it in the epilogue and you saw it through Jack's eyes. But now in Red Dead Redemption 2, there were a lot of scenes that we shot that you may not have ever seen, depending on how you played the game. If you walked around the camp and you
unfortunately, yes. Like I've completed the game like a year ago, I think. And then only on TikTok I've seen clips of scenes that I've never seen during the game. So
right, yeah. Unless you decide to walk over and see what's going on, see what these people are talking about, you have no idea. We shot them, obviously. But I guess my point is I sat there and watched Roger work for the first, 20 minutes. And I thought, oh my, I can't wait until this game comes out. This is going to be awesome. Because he was so good. He was so good that it made it seem like he had done it for 20 years. And almost immediately, I learned so much just by watching him. So I think as far as like their chemistry, their friendship or whatever, their brotherhood in the game, I mean, you got to follow the script, right? You got to do what you got to do there. But as far as knowing that Roger came and really, from the very beginning, gave it everything that he had, which is very much like what Rockstar wants, you know? Of course they do.
Sorry, continue.
It just was so apparent just right away that, yeah, this is the real deal. This is happening. I can't wait. So happy to be part of it. So
you've mentioned that you've learned a lot from Roger. I was actually about to ask, you were in a returning role, and then for Roger, this was sort of a new experience. So did you, Roger, learn anything from Rob? What was the learning experience in general?
Absolutely. I was playing Red Dead Redemption every time I went home. I would go back and forth the whole time we were working on 2. I'd play Red Dead Redemption and then GTA 5. So you taught me as well. Absolutely. You led an amazing example. And it was just a wonderful environment to work in, you know, because we work together, you know. So many people think what we do is voice acting, but nowadays that's only really a tiny part of it, you know.
But you also did mocap, didn't you?
That was most of it.
Yeah, most of it.
That's like 90% of my work, anyways. So we're doing those scenes together, you know, in spandex. It looks ridiculous. We wear spandex with shiny balls on, and then we wear cowboy boots and gun belts, you know.
So tough.
I was actually about to ask, can you talk about portraying the tension between Arthur and John when things, start to fall apart and you're standing in spandex and what was the atmosphere then?
You get used to it after a while, but what's really tricky is, we have these helmets with the cameras and doing kissing scenes. That makes it really, really difficult. You have to navigate your tusks. That's what we called them, the tusk, you know. It's just a wonderful medium. But yeah, kissing was always awkward. It's a shame they cut those scenes out when you and I were.
Those were good days, though. They were good days.
When's the director's cut coming out then?
Yeah, maybe one day. We'll see. You never know. Oh, John. You're more than all right, boy.
I can sort of never tell. Are you always in your character voices, or are these your natural voices? Do you change at least a slight bit of them, or I mean, I can't tell.
So
or these are just your normal voices.
This is my normal voice. Yeah, this is how I sound all the time. But as John, they said, obviously, I had to be a little more grumpy than I typically am. But I didn't know, when I auditioned, I had no idea. I really had no idea I was auditioning for a video game, even. No, nonetheless.
What do you mean? Didn't you like record a voice of something?
Yeah, well, so Rockstar, and I think a lot of video game companies are very secretive too, but Rockstar was so secretive that you didn't know. In fact, I'm sure there are probably a lot of people that played Red Dead, any part of the series, right, that auditioned for it and never knew that they even auditioned for it. I'm not kidding you, because I thought it was possibly even a commercial that I was auditioning for. And I did have a lot to say. They gave me this whole page of dialogue to try and memorize in 3 minutes and then walk in this room, and they had me doing weird things like I had to fold a bunch of clothes while I was trying to say these lines that I just tried to memorize, and the whole thing was like such a mind-boggling experience, and I thought, what is this even for? And thank God I booked it, but it was, I didn't know what it was until I got to the first day of shooting and signed my non-disclosure agreement, and then I was made aware this is what this is.
But you do know that it was an audition for Rockstar, right? Games. No, not even the company name.
No. And my agent didn't even know. So it was like, do you want to go to this audition? Yeah. What is it? We don't know. And then, even then,
because I was thinking maybe you were at least thinking that you're going to be an extra in a GTA game or something, but you didn't even know what you were auditioning for. Okay.
No, and I think everybody has a very similar story, everybody that worked on the game. But yeah, when they called me and said, yeah, you remember that thing you auditioned for? A couple weeks ago, we didn't know what it was, and I said, yeah. And they said, well, you booked it. And I was like, well, cool, what is it? We still don't know. Nobody knew. I know your story is similar.
Yeah, ours, Red Dead 2 was called Dust. They're like, oh, okay, Dust. And then
you mean on the script where you auditioned, technically?
Then it changed names to Tombstone. But I was highly suspicious from pretty much my second audition. I was like, this might be Red Dead, But I didn't want to. I didn't want to guess. I didn't want to say, hey, is this Red Dead Redemption? Because that might ruin my chances. So I just kept everything close to my chest, and then it was like my second day on the job.
So you had an actual hunch that it could be for the second game?
Yeah, I mean, the video game industry, as we all know, very, very secretive, but for good reason too, because leaks suck. I really hate it when we get leaks and you see something before it's ready, And it was a shame, and it happens to Naughty Dog. It happened to Rockstar for the trailer for GTA 6, And they had to release it a day ahead of schedule because it was out already anyway. So they might as well have a good quality version of it. But leaks suck, so obviously it's understandable that it's so secretive, And the fact that it doesn't get leaked out more often when you think of how many people work on it. We had thousands on Red Dead 2. Is a bit of a miracle. But yeah, even as a gamer myself and someone who works in the industry, it's a real shame when something's not ready is already leaked out to the audience, because we want you guys to enjoy it to the maximum, to the utmost potential that you can. And if you see something that's not finished yet, it makes me sad for everyone who's worked so hard on it, So I understand totally why. But it's hard, though. For 5 years, I was telling family members, I'm working on a video game. I can't tell you what it is. And 4 years in, they're like, you're full of shit, Raj. Why are you pretending that you're still working on that video game, the one you can't talk about? I mean, it got to that point,
Really? Oh, you were bullied by your whole family?
Yeah.
So you've already mentioned that you want the players to have the full game experience, and you've already mentioned that there's a lot of material, let's say, in the game that you can basically sort of skip over. So what are your thoughts on this particular dynamic? Like, for instance, there's this huge scene where I think Arthur, a huge discussion in the overall, let's say, well, not plot of the game, but where Arthur talks to this nun at a train station. Yeah. And that whole scene is incredibly touching.
You
and
might not even get it.
Yeah, and I didn't get it in my playthrough.
Yeah.
And I later just saw it as a TikTok clip on TikTok, and I'm like, well, I missed out. Okay. So what do you think about the dynamic of the game that you mentioned that you really want all the players to experience the game in its fullest potential, but then there's sort of paths where you could just, I don't know, skip over very important parts of the game.
There are.
Aren't you, I don't know, sad is not the word I'm looking for, but...
I think it's cool that no two people have the same playthrough, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
It's so full of detail. I mean, this is over 6 years old, it came out. It's over 6 years ago, and people are still finding new things. So that just goes to show how deep it is, you know? But yeah, the Sister Calderon stuff, if you don't do the Brother Dorkins missions in Saint Denis, that doesn't happen. And if you have low honor, that also doesn't happen. You meet up with Reverend Swanson instead. No two people have the same playthrough, and I think that's kind of cool, you know?
Yeah. It's a chance that, obviously they were willing to take, and I think it paid off. I mean, I really do. I think obviously people really...
Yeah, well, now I'm incentivized to play the game again from start to finish, only now with all the extra missions and everything.
Yeah. And do high honor, because then you'll get the sister.
Oh, the first time I played it, it was high honor, yeah.
Oh, you were high honor?
Still, yeah.
But you didn't do, okay, so you must
But I skipped something else because I didn't get the nun scene.
The Brother Dorkins missions in San Diego.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm doing a playthrough right now of Red Dead Redemption. The 15-year anniversary of the release date was like...
Check him out. He's doing it right now.
I'm doing it on YouTube.
Are you streaming it then?
I'm streaming.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
And listen, if you do tune in, I'm sorry. I'm really bad. I'm not a gamer.
I was about to ask, wouldn't it be funny if you sucked at the game, actually?
And I do. And I really do. But one thing I got to say, and this is no joke. I've only been playing it for, I'm like an hour and a half into the game. And I already, of course, I remember, a lot of things from doing the work on the game. But I'm separated from that now because I've heard the sound of my own voice long enough on different things that I think, okay, that doesn't bother me. I don't like it, but it's like anybody else. If you hear the sound of your own voice, you're like, what? I don't sound like that. But anyway,
you sound exactly like that.
I know, but I'm able to. So far, I've been able to separate that, and I'm just enjoying the game. And I think the fact that what I'm recognizing, because I'm finally playing the game, is that every single one of you, even in Red Dead Redemption, because you have the choice to spend as much time doing whatever you want to do, and so many different things you can get into or skip or whatever. You write your own story. And I'm recognizing that now in a way that I didn't really understand it before. But I think that because everybody has the opportunity to have so much creative control of their own, that is a huge, huge thing that makes people enjoy it so much. It's their game. Rockstar, Roger and I, everybody that was in the game, we're all tools for you to go create your own story. And I think that really is what made people enjoy it all so much. It's you, it's your choices. And I maybe I'm not making any sense. I don't know, nobody's making any sound at all.
No, you're making a whole lot of sense. That's why everyone's listening.
Well, but okay, hopefully that's true. But I'm recognizing that. And I think it's a lot easier to do panels now that I've played just a little bit of this game for
I'm sorry, is it your first playthrough?
Yes.
Oh, really?
And for 5 years I've been doing panels, and I'm like, yeah, it was awesome. And I have no idea what I'm talking about until just now, honestly. It's a whole different perspective. So
this is interesting. Okay. So this is an off-topic question, but if Arthur Morgan and John Marston ever squared off in a good old-fashioned duel or brawl, who do you think would come on top? Question to both of you, gentlemen.
I'd give it that one to Arthur. He's tougher. He's bigger. He's tougher.
I don't know. The TV kind of takes a bit of a toll on you after a while. I don't know. I mean, John Marston's the OG. He always will be. There wouldn't be an Arthur without John. I don't know. But yeah, we've heard that question a few times.
It has the internet split, yeah.
All I'll say is this. Arthur and John would totally smash and annihilate Michael and Franklin.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you can tell that to them when their panel comes up. Roger Clark said that you guys would be, yeah, they've got better guns, but that's it.
Is it true, and I'm pretty torn on this, is it true that later in the game, like at first, John and Arthur, they have their pretty distinct, let's say, character models in the game, and then later on, I think it's when you switch to John, that the player model of the actual, you know, technical player model in the game, that they use like the same body, even though Arthur should be bigger than John. Is that true, or is it just like a legend or a myth online?
I think that there's
like they say that that later on in the game they use the same asset. Basically, is what I'm saying. Even though John should be a bit smaller than Arthur.
Yeah. So I know that there are a couple of things that, like, I've heard about John's hair. People send me messages telling me to get in touch with Rockstar to have him fix John's hair.
Oh, people contact you specifically.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
cool.
Like, oh yeah, let me.
Why haven't you done it yet, Rob?
It was just that easy. No, but they were seeing were they side missions? Okay, so we would to save time, I guess. We would each do side missions, right?
If this is a Rockstar secret, you can just keep it under the rugs. You don't need to answer this question if this is something.
We shared them, because depending when you do these side missions, if you do it in the epilogue, you're doing it as John. You do it before the epilogue, you do it as Arthur. Spoilers, by the way. But yeah, we shared that. And, Rob has a different walk than me. Rob leads with his chest a little more. I swing my arms more, so I can tell straight away whether it's you or me, because he would do the mocap for one side mission, and then I would ADR it afterwards in the booth, depending when you decided to do the side missions. So, if it was either Arthur or John, we shared those missions we did them together, and I maybe did 60% and you did 40, and that's the way that was done. And it was just, it saved time. But I can tell the difference when it's John and Arthur, or it's you or me.
Yeah. Well, I'm wondering if that has an effect on what people are saying about the epilogue. I may be completely wrong.
We don't know. We don't know. That was all the engineers and animators and whatnot. Yeah. I don't know.
Let's leave that to the internet trolls then, I guess.
Yeah, they're good at that. They'll figure it out.
They'll think of something, right? They'll come up with the different theories. So you already mentioned that you get messages just because of being John Marston, right? You get messages. Did you ever get? I'm thinking of a way to approach this question. So, for instance, when I played the game, and when Arthur died, I was extremely mad at the game and everything, and I cried, of course. And and then the game sort of restarts you with John. And at first I was playing like 4 days in a row the whole game, right? And then I ended the story with Arthur. Then the game sort of restarts. You get to control John. But then when the story restarted, I had to take like 3 days off of the game just because I don't know. I was just devastated that Arthur died, and I was like, no, I don't want to play this a second character. I don't care for him. Like, why do we this is where the game cuts off. This is where my story ends. I'm like, what is this other part of the game? I'm not sure if I even want to play it. Do you ever get like messages for? I don't know. Again, I'm thinking of a way to approach this question. Like, do you ever get like angry messages of like, it should have just been Arthur's story or something like that? I don't know.
No. And thank you, daggone, thank you for not sending me that horse shit. I'm just kidding. No, I haven't heard that. But I do know exactly what's going on, because you fall in love. you fall in love with Arthur Morgan.
You understand me, right?
Of course I do.
I had to take like 3 or 4 days off of the game because I was like, no, I just died. I don't know why you introduced this second character for me. Well, although I do know that you know the first game is with John, so that would logically follow. Yeah. But when you're playing the game and you're so connected to Arthur, you're like, nope, this is where the game ends for me, technically.
Yeah, I get that, and I understand that fully. And I think that we heard a lot about that in Red Dead Redemption, right?
Yeah, so, absolutely. I didn't want to be Jack.
Right. Yeah.
Well, there you go.
In fact,
relatable.
I remember having conversations with you about this when you were like, I don't know, man. This is kind of a thing. I hope people don't hate Arthur. And I'm sitting there saying, no, they won't. They won't. And I even said to you.
You did. I remember you saying,
the people that have played this game that have never played the other one, I'm the new Jack. I am Jack now.
Oh, yeah. So then that completely makes sense to me, at least.
And it's not that you hate being Jack. It's just you've grown so attached to John.
Exactly.
You know, and you're like, well, I got to see how this pans out. But you miss John, you know, and like I guess we missed Arthur too with Red Dead 2. But that's Rockstar does it so well. And at least with Red Dead 2, if you had played Redemption 1 beforehand, returning back to the OG wasn't such a travesty, you know? But I totally remember when I started, first of all, I thought that was the end of the game. But then when you started playing as Jack, I was like, oh, okay, yeah. And then you find out, oh, this story isn't finished yet. And I just thought that was genius. We all die in video games all the time, but you never actually die. Yeah.
So I guess then this is the Star Wars question, right? Should you play the second one first or the first one first?
That's a good question.
Because at first, when I finished the second one, and I only played the second one, my fans are like, so now you just have to play the first one. I'm like, that makes no sense. They're like, no, story-wise, that makes all the sense in the world. I'm like, really? Oh, so this is like the Star Wars thing. So what would you recommend then, I guess? Well, you're having your first playthrough, so I don't know.
Well, of course, I'm not gonna play the game that he was the playable character in. That's not my position to do that. But no, I mean it's too late now. I mean, obviously, I think everybody's played Red Dead Redemption 2 probably. But I would suggest only because the graphics, there are so many more things that you can interact with in Red Dead Redemption 2 than you can in Red Dead Redemption. And I mean, pretty much any NPC that you bump into in Red Dead 2 is going to interact with you, right? I mean, in Red Dead, I'm trying to start shit with people already just to see what they'll do, and they don't do anything. And I think, Red Dead 2, that's when all that came in.
It still holds up, though. Still a great game. What do you guys think? Which one should you play first? 2? Yeah, because that would be chronologically correct, yeah. How many people didn't play the first one until after they finished 2? Wow, so that's a fair amount. I think a lot of the younger players never played Red Dead Redemption until after 2. And that's the way, chronologically, you should do it. And it still holds up. It's still a great game.
In terms of story, if you had a chance to make some tweaks to the main story, would you think of any? Would you do something? Because I have one.
I don't. One idea. I only have one, and I always go on about it. It's not Colm O'Driscoll. It's Colm. It's an Irish name. It's pronounced Colm. They made me say it wrong because Arthur's a dumb American, but it's pronounced Colm.
So I had an idea.
But in the grand scheme of things, that's not a big major deal. So no, there isn't much. They did an awesome job.
Okay, so when I was playing the game, right? So I had, throughout the whole game, I used the same one horse that they gave me when I had to, buy the horse, I think.
Oh, yeah, with Hosea, yeah.
Yeah. So, and I used that same one horse, and it was fine for me. And of course, I, created a connection with the horse. I bonded with the horse, and I really loved that horse, and I called her, I think her name was Millie. And then later in the game, just because I got bullied by my viewers, they said, no, you need to get this super cool, fast horse or whatever.
The White Arabian?
Yeah, I think the White Arabian. So I got the White Arabian horse just before the mission where Arthur dies.
Oh boy.
Just before, yeah. So basically, I get this horse that I have no connections with. I don't care for it. It's my first ride. And then on that same mission, it died. And I'm like, okay, so this would have been 10 times more impactful if Millie would have died here, right? So maybe, you know, the game could be tweaked in a way where you have to sort of buy a horse earlier, or you know what I'm saying?
Well,
because that could have been, you know, the ending. I cried when Arthur died, but if that would have been Millie, I would have cried the whole the whole way through the back end of that mission.
A lot of people do. But yeah,
I just had no connections with that horse. I had no idea I was about to die right now. I'm like, yo, okay, let's
did
pick
you
this one.
have 4-star bonding with it yet?
With Millie?
No, with the new one.
No, it was my first ride with the new one.
So, for those of us that did that scene with a horse that we had a 4-star bonding with, there's a whole cutscene where he, you know, the horse is breathing its last breaths, and Arthur goes to it and he says, "Thank you." You know, whispers softly in his ear.
Okay.
That only happens if you have a 4-star bonding with the horse.
So
if you don't, it just skips.
So I just need a new playthrough then.
Another example of all the details. Yeah.
So, okay, so you worked on this project for a long time. Do you have, I understand that you have like a professional bond, but are you friends in real life in general? Or do you hang out, or only in these type of settings and venues?
Oh, of course. I mean, I get to see Rob like 2-3 times a month now still. We're the best of friends. He's one of the best men I know, and a very gracious man. I will say one thing, you know, a lot of actors that are in Rob's shoes, you know, if they were brought back to a franchise that they were the lead in, and then they see this new friggin' guy, you know, they would not have behaved in the way that Rob did. Rob was a total supportive guy. He made my job so much easier, and I just love him to death, you know, and we all became a gang because we worked together for so long, and it was, like we said earlier, so secretive that we had no one to talk to about our work except each other, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Very strong bond with all of the gang.
So you've already mentioned that there's a completely different director's cut where where both of our characters are lovers. That's cool, but
yeah. And there's a bit with Micah and Dutch too.
Are there any? Well, I guess there are some. So I mean, are there any scenes or lines that one of you just couldn't get through without laughing? Any bloopers that became legendary on set, but maybe are not well known to the general public? I don't know.
Yes. Usually it was.
Can we hear something about them?
Usually it was my fault, but.
You couldn't get through serious lines at certain times, or
no? Well, yeah, that was a problem a couple times too. But there was a scene. It's what bank robbery is that?
Oh, the Saint-Denis one, yeah. The Saint-Denis bank one.
Yeah, this really intense scene that we're doing. There were probably 12 people in the scene, maybe less. I don't know, but there was a lot going on. Everybody's real intense. Hosea walks out, doesn't walk back in. You guys know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. And Milton, the guy playing Milton, it was like his first day, and he kept calling Dutch Butch.
Yes. Ben was shook.
Yeah, he did not like it.
He did not like it. But for whatever reason, I think that my line was supposed to be, we should never have met with Bronte Dutch. Dude, I'm trying to do it again. But what came out of my mouth is we never should have had brunch with Dante. and so, oh my goodness. But everybody kept going. We learned, you know, the director is the one who says cut. Nobody else does, right? So everybody just went through the scene, and so Dutch is being called Butch in this same take. All this stuff's happening, and then I heard that, but then they finally cut, and everybody's kind of giggling, and I'm like, what's funny? And they wouldn't tell me. They wouldn't tell me because they didn't want me to get that in my head and say it wrong again. And so they're like, all right, ready? You ready, Rob? And I'm like, yeah, I've got one line. That's all I got to say.
I won't fuck it up, obviously.
Like, why are you looking at me? They do another take. I said the exact same thing again. And this time, I don't know if the scene went on for another 5 seconds or 10 or whatever, but Ben finally was like, I can't. And then Roger, but the mimosas were so good. Like, we had a great time with every bit of it.
How was the shooting of the scene where you just need to, repeat Lenny all the time, the infamous Lenny scene? How did that go?
Doing it because it actually, it's like you get drunk. So the way that we shot that was kind of different from almost every other cutscene that I did, in that it was very episodic and the cuts were like very fragmented, because you're doing the can in 1 second, and then you're punching Lenny in the face as hard as you can the next, and then you're wrestling in the mud. So that bit was actually very disjointed, And no, we didn't get drunk. Some people do ask me, did you really get drunk? I went, no, because we had to do more scenes later on that day. But I did have a lot of experience to draw that from, And Harron Atkins, who plays Lenny, we had a lot of fun doing it, but we had no idea that would become one of the most favorite missions in the entire game. And even now, to this day, I think I've said it maybe a dozen times so far today. Just everybody loves it. It's crazy what catches on sometimes.
The game has an incredible fan base, and you've both already mentioned that people do reach out to you. Can you share any memorable fan encounters or messages about Arthur's or John's influence that really stuck with you?
Go ahead if you want.
I mean, you've already mentioned that, people ask you to, comb your hair in the game or something, but like, maybe you had some fun encounters.
So I think one thing, and I know...
Apart from this encounter, which is also...
So when we're meeting people at our tables, and sometimes you have people come up that have told us that it's brought their family together, because it's something they can bond over and really enjoy together. And I don't think that anybody probably ever thought that would be something that we would ever hear when we were doing this work on this game, that people would come up and say, this actually, you know what, I played this with my grandpa, I play this, my whole family gathers around, and we all enjoy it together. That is really, really cool, because sometimes, people just can't find a common bond to hang out and just enjoy time together. And so that is absolutely amazing, and I love it every time I hear it.
Yeah, it really is an honor to be part of something that my dad used to scream at me to get off the Nintendo, And now when I've so many people come up to us and they say, this brought me closer to my grandfather, who had a big love of Westerns, and he's no longer with us, so I just want to thank you. That really, really means a lot. It's absolutely amazing just to be able to be part of something that's appreciated by so many people. It's a true honor.
So obviously, the easiest thing to do is just to recommend everyone play the game, sure.
Now, I will say, a lot of people go, hey, you need to talk to Rockstar. We need 60 FPS for the PS5. We need 60 FPS for the PS5, Raj. Sort it out.
Will you sort it out?
No! No, I can't sort it out. Oh, yeah, let me just push a button. Yeah, I wouldn't even know what... Even if it was up to me, I wouldn't know how to do it.
So what is this is just sort of a general closer, right? What is the main takeaway? If it were just one message, what is something that people should take away from this game after playing this game? Well, to close up our topic, I guess, in terms of Brotherhood, Betrayal, and Redemption, obviously, again, as I've stated, like, the best thing to do is just to, recommend them play the game. But if you had to just, highlight a certain thing that people should take away from the game, what would it be? And from your personal experiences, what did you take away from this whole experience, let's say?
I think a theme that we regularly return to and visit, and it's said in many different iterations and versions throughout the game, is that revenge is a fool's game, you know? And at the end of Red Dead 2, John obviously feels obligated to take revenge for Arthur, you know? And that's what eventually causes his own downfall, eventually. That's what puts all those wheels in motion. That's how Ross, they find out about John because he gets Micah up in the mountains, you know? And it just goes to, and then at the very end of this saga, we see Jack Marston, and he's got his revenge, but he's completely alone. No gang, no parents.
And he's an outlaw.
And he's just starting out in life by himself, you know? And I think for me, that's one of the main themes, is that vengeance is an idiot's game, you know?
Very well put, very well put. Would you have something to add, Rob?
Well, I think we did see these people who were a product of their environment, right? Like we all are. I mean, you only know what you're taught by the people who take care of you and the people that you can look up to, whatever that may look like. I mean, every one of these guys were bad guys. Of course, we're seeing it from their perspective, so you grow to love them. But if you weren't part of that gang, you did not like these people at all, right? But I do think because, you know, obviously redemption is in the title of these games, I think we did see these guys redeem themselves. At a certain point, they found, I'm not living right, and I need to make some changes, and I think they both did that. So I think that it's, I don't know, something that maybe we don't all rob trains and banks and hold people ransom for money. We don't do that, hopefully, but we all,
hopefully,
at a certain point, I know for me is I realized when I got married and had kids and really understood how much that meant to me. I've really found my purpose in life, and until I had that, I don't know that I really understood what it was. Now, of course, I think all I want to do is make sure that my wife and kids are good. And, you know, other than, well, thank you. No. That shouldn't probably be something that people feel like they need to clap for. We should all be that way, right? I'm not trying to.
That should be the default, right?
But I think that, you know, you've got to, I think we can all kind of relate in a way that until you find what it is that really, really means something to you, we're all just kind of hanging out trying to figure it out, right? So, I don't know. I think it's all relatable, and redemption is a big part of it.
We had at least one question from the crowd. Please, this is your time to shoot. Okay, 5. Okay, yeah, here we go. Yep, sure. Good.
Hi. My question is actually based on something that just happened in my game like a few days ago. I was near Annesburg, and I met the guy who's searching for his friend Gavin. And, and as he approached Arthur's horse, the horse freaked out in the way that it freaks out when Arthur puts the vampire on it or a ghost train goes by. So my question is, do you have any theories about where Gavin is, and is it supernatural related?
You know what I just thought of? Gavin is the strange man. You heard it here first. Nobody seems to like that theory. All right, whatever. Maybe.
That's so funny. You know what really made me laugh? Because I remember that guy in that. I think he got all that out in like one day. But what I did not expect when I was playing the game for the first time, and when I finally got into the epilogue, and now I'm John, and you still bump into him, and he's still looking for him 7 years later. A little more weary, a little more haggard, his clothes are a little dirtier, still looking for Gavin. Nigel, I think his name is? Yeah, well anyway, he's just cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, that guy. I mean, I don't think Gavin exists, but if he does, yeah, strange man, that would be really cool, man. That would be pretty cool.
Good question. Second one.
So the question to both of you, what was your favorite line in the games? In the first one for you, yeah, and for second one, and the second one for Clark, yeah.
Just overall, the favorite line, yeah.
Yeah.
People don't forget, nothing gets forgiven.
You smell like your shit took a shit.
Thank you.
Howdy, cowpokes. So, I just want to start a little story. This is the perfect way I think I'll introduce the question. So, when I first started playing Red Dead, I was just on a rampage, just plowing through everything I went through, just no remorse. And then finally, when I finished the game, I was devastated because I didn't feel that like I gave Arthur redemption and I didn't honor him enough. So immediately I started playing the second time and then high honor ending, and it was just beautiful. And after that, over 2,000 hours of gameplay, 15 times I've finished the game, and it's one of my favorite games ever, probably #1. So I want to thank you, both of you, for that, for producing such an amazing game. And the question is, throughout the gameplay, we can see that the leader of the gang, Dutch, starts to finally break, or some people think that he's truly showing his real face and that he's a bad person. And throughout the entire game, I always had a last hope of thread on Dutch, that maybe he will make the wise decision and just do something that will make at least the children and the rest of the gang members happy. So I wanted to ask, as you, not as Arthur or as John, as Rob and as Roger, what would you would have said to Dutch to maybe, give him like a knock in the head, to like give him a wake-up call? What would you say to him?
That's a complex question, gentlemen.
I think the Dutch's arc between the two games is fascinating to me, especially for someone who played the first Red Dead Redemption first. And then, we don't see Dutch until the end of Red Dead Redemption. And when we do, he's almost like Marlon Brando in Apocalypse Now, He's this crazy guy who has been able to indoctrinate this new gang, And then we see him at the beginning of Red Dead 2, where he's a leader and he cares about his gang.
Yeah, and he's presentable, at first.
And you look and you can see his charisma, and the way Benjamin Byron Davis and the writers then make that arc believable is just top class. But if it was me, I wouldn't have tried to turn him at all. I would have just left. Especially when, you take over the army and you see Dutch leave Arthur to die. That guy's on top of him and he's pushing the knife down, and you see Dutch's footsteps walking away. That, for me, that would have been, okay, I don't think I'm a member of the Vanderlyn gang anymore.
Yeah. I think Roger answered it best. Yeah, it's hard to say anything, and I'm not even kidding you, because we spent so much time working on these games and being these characters. I almost feel like I'm talking trash to Ben Davis right now, which is certainly not what I'm trying to do. But I think that if anybody, had the guts to go up to Dutch and tell him what they want to tell him, probably the right thing to do is to say, look, you got a bunch of really capable men that are willing to do anything that you want them to do. And you better start behaving like somebody who wants the best for everyone, because right now you're not doing anything good with all this that you have. I don't know how you would say that exactly to a guy who's completely lost his mind and have him understand it, but yeah.
Sorry, go on.
Well, you either just leave and be gone, or you'd have a major conversation that you would need to have.
But I think both John and Arthur do try to say something, and what that ends up doing is it pushes him further away from them, and it leads him into Micah's arms. They do try to make him turn around, but Micah's got his claws in him by that point. So then he starts to think, well, maybe Micah's my friend, and you two aren't, after all.
I think we have time for a couple of more questions.
Thank you.
Thank you for the question, first of all.
And
Very good question.
One more thing. Rob, can you give us You Eat Babies, please?
You eat babies!
Hi. So, first of all, Rob, we match bands. Skippity
Oh, I love that so much. You are awesome. Thank you.
Okay, so my question for the both of you is, if Red Dead Redemption 2 had a blooper reel, what's one moment in the studio that would be on it?
The one with the brunch, I guess, right?
That would be one, yeah. There was a day where Roger couldn't spit something out. I can't remember what it was. But he just stumbled over a word, and then he kept trying to fix it in the same take. Like, you guys went and stole sheep, cows, horses. And then finally someone went, you hear, cut, and you hear Roger, why?
I remember. I don't remember what it was, but I do remember this take is totally gone. And then he goes, okay, let's try it. What did I do? Yeah. I remember there's one bit where it's at the very beginning. I think it's when you first go to Valentine, and Karen has a John, and you go to the hotel to rescue her because she's getting beat up by her client. And if you go into the wrong hotel room, there's a guy on the crapper. And you can hear him I couldn't stop laughing at that. Because again, he's wearing spandex and he's sitting on this makeshift toilet. And the whole situation it kind of got to me how ridiculous it all was. So I couldn't stop. Yeah, that was pretty funny.
Thank you for the question. One more.
Rob, thank you for being my gym buddy.
Yes, thank you so much. I love that. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Here's a thought. Obviously, redemption is a big part of these stories. It's in the title. Arthur, for both characters, a big part of their redemption was their sacrifice. Arthur sacrificed himself for John and his family, only for John to go on a revenge mission. Same as John, he sacrificed himself for his family, only for Jack to go on a revenge mission against Ross. So with that in mind, in your opinion, do you think your characters' sacrifices were in vain?
Yeah. Yeah, basically, And that's part of the tragedy, I think Red Dead Redemption is a tragedy. Ultimately, I don't think there's any arguing with that. So, yeah, the sacrifices ultimately were in vain, because like we said, Jack is alone, but it's a hell of a journey to witness, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you for the question. One more, maybe. Yeah, let's try one more. Like I said, these gentlemen have an interview at 5, so.
Yeah, I guess mine's sort of deep, but basic, what I'm thinking is that, Red Dead Redemption 2, it's a big game. A lot of things got cut, the whole thing with New Austin is big with the whole community, but I'm thinking maybe there's something lesser known that you two might have wished that made it into the game, but didn't.
I don't even know. I know there was a period of time where they had to find the threshold of the technology. Excuse me. So they would shoot things trying to go beyond it just so they could find where it is. But I don't know that there were any scenes that would have been deleted because of that. Possibly some may have been changed a little bit, but I don't think there was anything that I shot that didn't make it. I don't know that for sure, but you may know different.
There was a few things, ultimately that decision was out of our hands, what got cut and what didn't, but for the majority of our work obviously didn't get cut. But there were a few missions, and I think it's been discussed before. There was one particular one. The first one I remember is Arthur and Dutch go on a train to try and stop these bounty hunters going after the Vanderlyn gang, and they were all Boston bounty hunters. And I remember that day because Ben's from Boston, and he was fixing their accents, saying that's not quite Boston enough. I remember doing that. This was one of the things that didn't get in the game. There were a few things, but that's the first one that comes to mind, yeah.
All right. Thank you for your work.
Thank you for the question. One last question. Literally the last one, sorry.
So I would like to start by thanking you, gentlemen, for making me cry the whole game. Thank you for the trauma.
The whole game.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
And I think this question is more for Rob, yeah. Many players noticed that John in the first and the second game, they talk different, they act different. Could you maybe explain it a bit more? Why is it like, why did the Rockstar choose like a bit of a different direction for the character? Why did John evolve? And because like, yeah, many people like possibly remember from the first game, John said that he had like a daughter, and then she like died when she was an infant. So could you maybe talk more about that?
So as far as the daughter goes, I don't know the answer to that question, and I did ask that question, and they dodged it and dodged it and dodged it for a couple weeks, and then finally I was told, oh yeah, she froze, and I'm like, oh, right on where? And then they were like gone, and I thought, oh, well, you just don't want to tell me, and I have no idea why. But the other part of it, I think, like I was saying earlier, you got to find your purpose, right? So John, I think, finally found his purpose when he became a father and a husband. I know that mine is the same. It's like not because of John, but yeah, same kind of thing. I'm sorry, can you repeat exactly what your question was real quick?
Yeah, so my question was, why did like John change like his persona and character?
Oh, right, yeah. That's it. I'm so sorry. Yes.
It's okay.
So in Red Dead Redemption, which is after Red Dead Redemption 2, John's grown up. He's had that transition, right, where he recognizes this is what is important to me, and there's nothing in the world that's going to stop me from fulfilling this role. So, yeah, before that, he's just some young punk. He is a punk. Oh, my goodness, he was such a punk. But he's looking at Arthur. He wants the same kind of respect that he's seeing Arthur get, but he hasn't earned it. You don't just get respect because you want it. You got to earn it, especially in a crowd like that, right? So, yeah, I think there was a lot about John that you got to start somewhere and get to a different place, right? For the arc of a character. And, yeah, they made sure they made him travel a long way to get to where he became in Red Dead Redemption. But I think that's why. Just young, punk, didn't know what he wanted.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for the question, and unfortunately, that is all the time that we have. Roger Clark and Rob Wiethoff, everyone. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you very much. Another big round of applause.